A lot to do over the next 60 minutes. David Aardsma is here to talk baseball. Kurt Helin will talk some basketball. Wimbledon semifinals are set as well. I got a lot to say in today's edition of The Big Story. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump into it. As we always do, we start this Wednesday edition of the show. It's The Big Story. When former Dallas Cowboys linebacker Marshawn Kneeland died last year at the age of just 24, the story understandably generated headlines. Here's a young man, promising NFL career, and a life cut tragically short. The coverage focused on the grief, the shock, the family, the teammates, the Cowboys organization trying to process this unimaginable loss. And all of that matters. But yesterday we learned something that should have been the headline all along. And that is this. Marshawn Kneeland was diagnosed post-mortem with CTE at just 24 years old. 24. Let that sink in for a second. This wasn't a retired player in his 50s or 60s. This wasn't someone who spent decades living with the cumulative effects of football. This was a young man who should have had his entire life ahead of him. And according to reports, Kneeland never suffered a single diagnosed concussion during his NFL career. Not one. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he never had a concussion. We know better than that. Football players at every level have historically played through symptoms, hidden symptoms, or simply never recognized them. But that's almost beside the point, isn't it? Because the fact that a player can reach the NFL, never have a documented concussion, still be diagnosed with CTE after his death, should force all of us to confront some uncomfortable realities. The conversation shouldn't be simply about concussions anymore. The conversation should be about football itself. For years, the NFL has pointed to improved helmets, enhanced protocols, neurologists, spotters in the booth, rule changes, kickoff modifications, player safety initiatives. And some of those changes have absolutely helped. I don't think there's any question that the league is safer today than it was 20 years ago. But safer and safe are not the same thing. And every time a story like this emerges, we're reminded of that reality. Because the uncomfortable truth is that football remains a collision sport. Thousands upon thousands of impacts occur every season, never resulting in a diagnosed concussion. Yet researchers have spent years examining whether those repetitive blows can contribute to long-term brain trauma. That's part of the discussion many people don't want to have. And frankly, it's the part that much of the sports media seems reluctant to fully engage with. Think about how this story was covered yesterday. A 24-year-old former NFL player is diagnosed with CTE after his death. Should be front-page sports news. That should be leading television sports programs. It should be sparking furious and serious discussion about what we've learned, what we haven't learned, and what this means moving forward. Instead, what do we get? Many outlets treated it like a brief update, quick mention. A reader, as we call it in the industry. 30 seconds, and on to the next story, right? I watched SportsCenter last night. This story was essentially given a passing mention before moving on. Moana's in promo during SportsCenter got just as much time. And look, I'm not naive. I understand how modern sports media works. Networks pay billions of dollars for league rights. You see it. They invest heavily in partnerships. They build programming around those relationships. The NFL isn't just a league anymore. It is the foundation upon which almost all of the sports media business is built, let's be honest. And now the relationship between leagues and media companies is closer than ever. When business interests become intertwined, difficult conversations often become shorter conversations. That's just reality. But Marshawn Kneeland deserves better than a quick mention. The audience, who sports media outlets treat like dullards, they deserve better than a quick mention. Because this isn't merely tragic. It's a warning. again. Another one in a long line of warnings we've received over the last 2 decades. Every time one of these stories emerges, we hear the same responses, right? Questions are asked. Concerns are raised. Panels will discuss it for a day or two. And then inevitably, football season arrives. You have the Hall of Fame game, the preseason. Football season arrives. Everybody moves on. The games kick off. Right around Labor Day. Fantasy leagues begin. Go draft your teams. The betting lines go up. Got to get in those picks. Ratings soar. And eventually, inevitably, the story fades away. Until the next former player is diagnosed. Until the next family receives answers they never wanted. Until the next obituary includes a medical finding that forces us to revisit the same uncomfortable conversation. Nobody's calling for a prohibition on football, at least I'm not. Doesn't mean parents shouldn't allow their kids to play. But they have to do so knowing the risks. Doesn't mean the NFL should cease to exist, but it does mean this. Honesty matters. Intellectual honesty matters. It means acknowledging despite all the advancements, despite all the safety measures, despite all the billions invested in player health, football still carries risks we may not fully understand. And if a 24-year-old can be diagnosed with CTE despite never recording a diagnosed concussion in the NFL, we still have far more questions than answers on this topic. Marshawn Kneeland's death is heartbreaking. His diagnosis is alarming, and the biggest disservice we can do is to treat that diagnosis as a footnote instead of the story. Because if we're not willing to have the difficult conversation now, when a 24-year-old former player's been diagnosed with CTE, when exactly are we willing to have it? And that's the big story. All right, we're coming back. We got more to do on the show. Kurt Helin is here, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. We'll talk hoops with him later on. David Aardsma talks baseball. SportsWrap goes inside baseball on this Wednesday edition of the show. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. I've had my say in the big story. Wednesdays are about Kurt Helin talking hoops and David Aardsma talking baseball. As SportsWrap goes inside baseball with the one and only David Aardsma, Sirius XM MLB Radio. I was listening to him this weekend while I was driving around San Francisco, catching a little baseball on TV because the Giants weren't in town. Enjoying the 4th of July.
They're not there when you're rolling through.
It never fails. It never fails. The thing is, I keep saying I'm going to come down to Phoenix to see the Diamondbacks because I've never seen a game over there at that ballpark. And it's only a 4-hour drive. I just drove 11 hours to San Francisco. I can't drive 4 to go see a game at Chase Field. Like, really? So I do have to get down there and see a game. But I'm only coming if you go to a game with me.
I'll go to a game with you.
Okay.
I like it. They're a fun team to watch.
Okay. So we're making plans. That's happening. We're doing this.
We'll do the 999 challenge like I did last Wednesday.
What's that?
That's I did 9 hot dogs, 9 beers in 9 innings.
No, you didn't.
Yes,
David,
I did 8 beers.
I'm shocked. You're health conscious. You don't do things like that.
I do stupid bets with people, and I lost the fantasy football challenge. So the Giants Diamondbacks game, I did the 999 challenge. 1 beer short.
Oh, you went all that way and came 1 beer short?
It was not.
That's like
right.
running the 26 miles.
Decision.
It's like running 25 and a half miles for the marathon and then saying, yeah, you know what, I'm good. I'm not going to run the last half mile. Come on.
Well, there's also a timeline. Like, you got to finish it by a certain time. So like I was looking at that last beer and I'm like, there's like an out in the 9th, and I'm like, dude, I ain't gonna do this thing. And
if I did that, they'd be
like
carrying me out. If I did that, they'd be carrying me out of the stadium. I'm a lightweight. They'd be carrying me out of the stadium. All right, let's jump into it here. Talk about some of the top stories around the league. Teams under the most pressure right now, David. We're, getting close. We're about a month out from the trade deadline here. I have been fascinated by the Detroit-Boston dynamic. There's also some teams in the National League that we could talk about as well. Teams under the most pressure right now is we're, 4 weeks out from the trade deadline. Who do you got?
One, as always, just because of how the media handles this team 24/7, is the Yankees have to be under huge pressure. It's just you're seeing the problems as you're seeing some of the problems come back to fruition without Aaron Judge, without some of these guys in the lineup that are just killing it. And so you're seeing what this team could be in the playoffs. And that's what scares Yankees fans. That's what scares all of New York, is when you're seeing this team go on runs where they just look like they're 2-8. You can't be the beast of the New York Yankees going to the playoffs and expect a World Series title, going runs in the middle of July, June and July, which they keep doing, and they keep losing World Series. So they have to do something. To me, that they're the ace number one team, the most pressure. My number two, San Diego Padres. San Diego Padres.
Wow.
Man. This team, that lineup, that roster is way too strong to be sitting here going under 500. They've put too much resources in this team. I don't know what they're willing to do with an ownership kind of like question marks and everything where that is. I don't know how much they're willing to sell, what they're willing to sell to try to upgrade. But the Padres are in a really bad position where over the last 4 or 5 years, they've been one of the best teams, if not like in that with the Dodgers right there, best team in the National League. And now we're sitting here looking at them, and they're behind the Diamondbacks. They're well behind the Dodgers in the West, and they're looking like they're not going to make a playoffs.
How is Detroit not in this conversation if you're talking about teams under the most pressure? They've got
I was saving them for later. My bold prediction is with the Tigers. They 100% are in a top spot.
All right. Well,
I actually think the Tigers might be in a tougher spot than almost every other team. I have them as number 3.
Okay.
Their problem is that they're starting to win, just like the Red Sox. They're starting to win games.
That's what's
fascinating.
Their problem. Yes.
And when you're in this when you're starting to go to this mid-July All-Star break and you're winning games, now that the ownership doesn't know what to do, front office, do we move? Do we get rid of traders? Do we try to get better? Because you start winning baseball games, and we can hit on a little bit more of the Tigers later.
Okay.
But I think the Tigers have a road to make the playoffs.
All right. You had a plan. I didn't. Jacob Mizorowski, dominance. Put yourself inside the mind of a hitter for a moment. At one point, you had to have swung a bat. College. Put yourself in the mind of a hitter against somebody who has been as dominant as the Miz. What is your approach at the plate?
The approach at the plate is to get him early. The best chance you have, the best batting average against them is in 0-0 counts. It's almost 200. You get ahead, you try to attack them early. You're looking for a fastball early, or your second best chance is to walk. That's it. No, he throws his fastball.
It's amazing his control.
Chance.
It's just amazing the control he has throwing as hard as he is.
It's the command. It's the off speed. It is a constant mindset of attacking a hitter where he's not beating around the bush. He's not trying to throw 7 different pitches. He is attacking you. And that's where that makes it very difficult. He has 5 pitches. It's really a matter of like 2. I mean, I guess it's like 3 pitches. It's really a fastball. A ton of the percentage of all of his pitches are fastball. Then he throws a cutter and a slider, where sometimes that becomes the same pitch. At the same time, he's coming at you that fastball slider. Fastball slider, fastball slider, fastball slider. He throws his fastball 75% of the time behind and counts. So if you don't attack the first pitch and you do get behind the count on him, if he gets behind the count on you, then you have an opportunity. You're going to look fastball, just look dead red and take your shot at it. But good luck hitting 105. That's the thing is even when he's throwing fastball 75% of the time, it's the best fastball in baseball. So good luck. So my plan would be, and this is what I would tell everybody, is go up there 0-0, swing like your life depended on it. And then once you're done behind 0-1, just walk back to the dugout.
Wow.
We're getting to that point where it's an 0-1 count. People should just start walking back.
I'm interested to see as the innings count comes up, as we go through the rest of the season here in the final 20 seconds we have in this segment, sort of, if we see any decline or regression to the mean at all with him.
Yeah, you know what? Paul Skeens definitely has taken a huge step back. This fastball, I think it's overuse. I could definitely see that too with Mizrowski at some point.
Yeah.
But, we haven't seen any signs yet.
All right. David Aardsma's going to hang out with us for another segment. AL MVP with Judge out. Where are we going for that? We'll get into that and more next. SportsWrap goes inside baseball every Wednesday on the show with David Aardsma, former big league reliever and closer. SiriusXM MLB Radio. You'll see him during the Little League World Series regional, like Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino or some place in California. I don't know. Yeah?
San Bernardino. The West
Ken
regional.
Griffey Jr. played at San Bernardino for the Mariners minor league team when he was a kid.
Was it the Suns or Blaze or what was it?
I can't remember. I have a card. I actually have a Ken Griffey Jr. minor league card from when he played in San Bernardino, though. That's the only reason I know. So with Aaron Judge out, David Aardsma, who wins the MVP in the American League? Not who should it be today, but I want your prediction when we get to the end of the season. Who's going to wind up being the AL MVP?
Your AL MVP will be Junior Caminero.
Wow.
It's not even a big wow to me. I don't know how more
Yordan Alvarez is due to win one. He is all the MVP characteristics. I'm assuming that you're assuming he's going to get hurt.
No, not at all. I actually think he's going to stay healthy. I think Yordan Alvarez has been a top 5, if not top 3 player in the AL for the last 10 years. The dude is incredible, and he might even have a better season than Junior Caminero. The one thing about MVPs, as opposed to Cy Youngs as much, MVPs are built around your team and how your team does. If the Mariners or the Rangers win that division and the Astros don't make the playoffs, he will not win the MVP. He's out. And this is going off of Major League Baseball's ESPN's rankings and their odds. Yordan Alvarez, Nick Kurtz, Bobby Witt Jr., Ben Rice, Junior Caminero, Byron Buxton, Julio Rodriguez, Shane Wranglers, yada, 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 right? I'm sorry, Ben Rice is not going to win the MVP. So, great season. The second you get Aaron Judge, Ben Rice is gone. Bobby Witt's not going to make the playoffs. Nick Kurtz isn't going to make the playoffs. Yordan Alvarez might really good chance of not making the playoffs. Byron Buxton, Julio Rodriguez, unless he turns it on, which he is a second-half player, and they make the playoffs. Tampa Bay Rays are the best team, and he's the best player on the best team. That's the MVP. That's how we determine the MVP. And this dude, Yordan Alvarez, might have a better season. If the Rays win the East, there's no question most valuable player should be Junior Caminero. And he's going to have stats that go right against Yordan on every single category. He is right there in almost every single category. 29 home runs to 26 home runs. 281 average. Again, Yordan, incredible, 313. But that's going to come back to earth a little bit. And we're just not giving enough credit to the best player on the best team.
Fair enough. I think it could be a coin flip when we get to the end of the year, and I will grant you this: where your team finishes is obviously going to play a role in that. But I also think there's some sentiment amongst voters that Alvarez is kind of owed one because he's been MVP quality but hasn't been able to stay healthy. And that's why there's a part of me that thinks if he stays healthy, they're going to give it to him just based on the fact that people have felt like he is an MVP caliber player for so long. We'll wait and see where it lands, and we'll follow it throughout the second half. Right now, he is the favorite to win it at -155. Caminero at +550. 7 umpires taking buyouts at the end of the baseball season. A couple of them have been pretty crappy umpires for the last several years. Let's just be honest about it. Good thing for baseball here?
Okay, so obviously the top 2, CB Buckner, Laz Diaz. Those are 2 you've known, Everybody knows. I think this is a very good thing for baseball. I think this is an opportunity for baseball to show their fans and show the players that we are directly looking at this stuff. We know who are the problem childs in the league. We've known they for years. Now we have the data to back it up, and we actually have the reason to be able to let them go. And they gave them a road out. They gave them the hey, here's the money. Take the money and just thank you for your time, because these guys have been issues. They've been issues with players directly, issues with calls directly. Their names keep coming up, and when umpire names are coming up before we're talking about players or games, that's the biggest issue Major League Baseball wants with umpires. Like, remove them. You should not know who these guys are outside of you like them.
I just said this yesterday on the show, though. If they're taking buyouts and that's already been announced, they don't have any Fs to give about the rest of the season. So, I mean, I wonder if the fuse gets shorter, David. I know we like to think they're going to be professionals, but at the same time, you wonder if the fuse gets a little shorter now.
They can still suspend them. Yeah. They can still take them out of game. There's still ways to do that, but okay. That's a great point. But if they start having bad games, they can still, they're under the same rules. They can just suspend them and not put them in, behind home plate and all that stuff.
All right. Final minute and a half. Boldest prediction for the second half of the Major League Baseball season is?
Hinted at it earlier. Detroit Tigers make the playoffs. They have 2 series that they have to be heads up for. 2 series in the entire month of July. It's the Cubs and Phillies. Outside of that, they're playing really nobody other than the top teams in their division. So, I mean, you're talking about Angels, Royals, Baltimore A's, Giants, Cleveland, like Pittsburgh's in there, Kansas City. Until you get to August, they don't have, and you have a Dodgers Tampa Bay series. Until you get to that point where they would have already have made all their trade decisions, already have made their run, if in or out, they have a real shot. They have a road to be able to be in position, because they face every team ahead of them and they don't really face anybody else that's going to affect them drastically. They have 6 games they have to basically be heads up for. Outside of that, they kind of control their destiny.
It's remarkable the difference between the Guardians as the second wild card and the Athletics as third to last best record in the American League is 5 games. Yeah. That's it. I mean, there's a lot that can happen between now and just the trade deadline, let alone the end of the season. David Aardsma does terrific work with us every week on the show as SportsWrap goes inside baseball. Catch him on SiriusXM MLB Radio. Also, he's got the batter's box. Tell people real quick, I want you to tell people about the batter's box, because if you have kids who are playing baseball, you need to know about the batter's box. Tell people about the batter's box real quick.
Well, I'll hit really quick. If you have anybody going to Cooperstown, particularly for the Cooperstown Tournament, All-Star Village, Dreams Park, we have all your bunkhouse needs. You have to bring everything for the bunkhouse. We have it all in one bag, and we can sell it to you. It is one of the most stressful things trying to prepare for that trip. We got it all in one place. So thebattersbox.shop. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook.
Again, thebattersbox.shop. Your one-stop need for all of that stuff if you're traveling with kids playing baseball this year. David, always appreciate you, my friend. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Oh, man, thank you.
Welcome back to the show. Wednesdays on SportsWrap, we got it locked down. We got David Aardsma to talk baseball. And now we got this guy. We flip-flopped him this week. We had David in the early segments, Kurt in the later segments. If the LeBron news had broke, we would have had you on earlier. But it hasn't, so we don't. But of course, because you're on today, we can guarantee the LeBron James story is going to break about an hour after we finish this conversation and make it all irrelevant. Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Am I right?
There is certainly a chance, but here's my vibe on this. And again, everybody's kind of going off vibes right now because LeBron and Rich Paul, frankly, going back years, they're very good at keeping things tight and close. And everybody's kind of trying to read the tea leaves, and whiteboards and what have you from Rich Paul. But he could drop it whenever. But I get the vibe that he's going to wait till Friday or Saturday of Summer League when everybody is in Vegas and everything's going on. The NBA world is in one place, and he can grab that spotlight for 24 hours.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way as well. All right, so, the latest reporting seems to have it narrowed down to Miami, Cleveland, and Philadelphia. Is there anything you're hearing that would make you differ from that?
Not totally, although what I've heard is Cleveland is the front runner. Again, everybody's trying to read tea leaves, but it looks more like the Cleveland Cavaliers to me, from what people I'm talking to around the league are hearing, or sensing might be the better word in some ways. But they think that it is the most organic. If he goes back and does a farewell tour, it's kind of natural. And if you're contending, I mean, Philadelphia is not theoretically. Philadelphia should be better if Embiid's knees allow it. But, I mean, the Cavaliers reached the Eastern Conference Finals last year and could argue that what they lack is a finisher like LeBron. LeBron, for all his flaws, cranked it up in the playoffs, beat at 41, and beat Houston. He has always shown up in big moments. They need a guy like that because Harden and Mitchell, and particularly Harden, can do it consistently. So you can make that argument, and I think that's maybe what they're talking themselves into, but it's, we're all waiting.
But here's the thing. I'm trying to figure out, is it more about the perfect ending of where his career started and where it ends, or is it about winning a championship? Because then the next question I ask is, if it's about winning a championship, Cleveland isn't the best landing spot, is it?
They're competitive in reaching the finals, certainly, but I'm with you.
The best.
The best would be Philadelphia. And frankly, I think you could make a really good case, even though they're in the West, and so that's a whole different set of issues. I think Minnesota would be a great fit. I think you plug him in at the 4 where you had Naz Reid and Julius Randle. The challenge is there, you're betting on LaMelo Ball. Philadelphia is the best bet because they're going to win a lot of games with Jaylen Brown there. That's a good team. And now with Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown and VJ Edgecombe, you can play Joel Embiid, 40 games this year? You can genuinely take as much care of his knees as you want and try to get him ramped up and ready for the playoffs when you're going to need him. But they're going to win plenty of games. You plug LeBron into that and it works even better. So that's the best fit. But if this is going to be a documentary or an episodic series that has not yet been decided, Jason. So whatever it ends up being, where is the good fit with all of that, with everything else you're going to do? Do you want to be in a new city like Philadelphia? Do you want to return to Cleveland or Miami? I think all of this actually plays into consideration.
I want to give you a moment to wax poetic here about LeBron, because it is just mind-boggling that we are talking about another version of The Decision starring LeBron James in his 40s. I tell people this all the time when it comes to Novak Djokovic, guys like LeBron, Messi, all these guys. Take a picture of this because you're not going to see it again, Kurt.
No, it is incredible that, certainly Djokovic yesterday, all these guys, but with LeBron, it's not just that he's 41, turns 42, entering his 24th NBA season with more minutes than anyone's ever played. And look, Jason, the human body was not meant to run up and down a hardwood floor every day for a living. It literally was not built for that. It's not good for it. That he is still this productive. He's still an all-star level player. If you're one of his critics, he's still a top 30 player in the NBA at 41, and a guy who, as the third option, makes a real winning impact with the teams we're talking about.
Yeah, that's sort of the sense I get as well. Jalen Brunson news. Interesting to note, he had surgery on his wrist. Anything that Knicks fans should be worried about?
Not particularly. It wouldn't be shocked. He's supposed to be back in 6 to 8, so would be back for training camp. Should be fine. This is something, but he played through an injury in the finals to get his team a ring, and I think that just adds to the legend, right? It just completely fits with what Jalen Brunson, who he is and how he's led that team. It's weirdly, by the way, now that's 2 years in a row, because remember, Jalen Williams with the Thunder. Like, he missed the start of this season. He had to have such extensive hand surgery after playing through the finals with one. But Brunson, I mean, 45 in the closeout game. Like, with whatever was going on, he was still getting it done, man.
We're hanging out with our friend Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. He's at the Summer League here in Vegas. He's just down the street from where I am, which means I'm going to have to take him out to a not-so-expensive dinner at some point while he is in town. I want to get caught up with you on what's going on as far as the Summer League stuff is concerned. What are making the big headlines there? And I also want to ask you about Tim Bontemps, who's left ESPN to go work for the Atlanta Hawks. Is this a one-off, or is it something we might see more of around the league? We'll ask Kurt about that and a whole bunch more as Sports Wrap continues on this Wednesday. Stand by. Joined by Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com on this Wednesday edition of Sports Wrap. It's the NBA Weekly. Until there's nothing left to talk about in the NBA, and then we'll say goodbye to Kurt for hopefully a little while. And just not that I don't like talking to him, but I just want to give him a break. Have you been watching the World Cup while you've had a chance? Have you been able?
Oh no, I've looked, especially before I left, and as much as I can, I've watched as much of that as I can. I am a soccer fan. I'm a Newcastle fan.
I know.
And all that. So I've watched it. It has been a roller coaster of a tournament for my teams, but also my team, but like also very entertaining. Like it is an event so big even FIFA can't screw it up as hard as they are trying.
Yes, that is true. So ex-ESPN writer Tim Bontemps leaves ESPN to go take a front office role with the Atlanta Hawks. We see this in the news world a lot. And we're seeing it more and more in the news industry, where people are seeing sort of the fall of conventional and traditional media. They're going to work for, AI companies and communications roles. Some go to work for politicians in communications and PR roles. Is this Bontemps thing a one-off? I know Adrian, Woj left to go take the GM role, but is this, and that's a little different, but are we going to see more of this?
Actually, you've seen more of it, but you are not wrong that it's trending that way. I mean, going back, Lee Jenkins is on the staff, the best feature writer when he was with Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, the best feature and book writer around the NBA. Left. He's in the Clippers front office. Has been for years now. As you got front offices that were less top down and a little more flattened out, and they wanted different voices in the room. You've got them pulling from different disciplines. You've got you've got the math guys and the analytics stuff, but the really smart, we're bringing in smart thinkers from all these perspectives. And Jenkins certainly knows the game and is an incredibly smart man and fit in beautifully with what the Clippers wanted to do. Bontemps is going to be great. He knows the game. He knows players. He's got a great contact list. He's going to be fantastic for them in Atlanta. And I think you're going to see more of that, but you really do see it with analysts more. Kirk Goldsberry and some other guys who have bounced between teams and doing media. Because there's if you're good, frankly, I'm leaving off the list. Or NBC, out here in Vegas with me, my partner, Grant Liffman, was in the Hawks front office and now does sidelines and analyst stuff for us at NBC Sports. You're just going to see more of that, I think, over time with the guys who really can almost be a scout, but also are really good on TV.
You heard it here first. Kurt Helin, next head coach of the Los Angeles Clippers, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Ty Lue is a bad rabbit. He's actually really good.
DeMar DeRozan, basically a free agent. Yep. Where does he land? What is the market like for him? What makes the most sense right now that you're hearing?
He's talking to a number of playoff teams about the final spot. He's kind of a specific need because he doesn't do everything you want. Jonathan Kuminga's out there. He's a little younger and more athletic, but depends on what you want. Here's the thing with DeRozan at mid-30s. Dude's a bucket still. Now he's going to get...
And he plays games. He played 70-plus games last year.
And gets his buckets in the mid-range. If you can bring him off the bench and I don't want to say turn him into a full Lou Williams microwave scorer, but more that kind of role. And hey, take over the offense for a while and get us some buckets. He will absolutely do it for you, but it's got to be the right role on the right team. So he's talking to a number of playoff teams.
What's going on with Russell Westbrook?
I don't want to say he's not going to have a job, but there really is a limited market because what he is so up and down on the court, and there's a lot that comes with, I don't mean this in a negative way, but Russell Westbrook brings a big spotlight because of his personality and his clothing line and everything else. That there's teams that are like, are we going to do that for the minimum? And also at this point, when you're playing for what he's playing for, do I want to develop this young kid or do I want to play a veteran? There's not, the teams that could use the veteran might not think he's consistent enough.
What happened with this giant trade bonanza last night? We have 6 teams involved.
Yeah.
Chris Middleton's going back to the Wiz. Like what's happening here?
It's funny. Most of that was stuff that we'd already heard about. John Collins' sign and trade was in that from the Clippers to Washington. It was all in there. But this happens occasionally where like once or twice every summer where they're like, this is one trade or 2 trades. They're like, well, we have a second trade. One of the teams will be like, we have another trade we'd like to fold into this because it's better for us financially. It won't affect you, or you'll get a second round pick or something out of it. And all this extra stuff starts coming in, and they start to snowball. And that's what happened with this one. It snowballed into 6 teams and 11 players.
What's the biggest buzz around the summer league right now?
They're obviously just starting in Vegas. The first games are there Thursday, but I will tell you, I was in Salt Lake. Darren Peterson is legit. That is, honestly, if you were going to take one thing away from Utah, and I know there were teams up in California, and I saw some of those games, but if there was one thing, Darren Peterson looked, it's 2 games in Summer League, so, Greg Ostertag once owned Tim Duncan in Summer League. Let's be careful where we go with this stuff. But he's looked incredibly good. Very mature, handling pressure. I was at the game against Memphis, and they were blitzing him like all game. Like, we're going to put 2 on the ball. We're not going to let and he made the right reads and split them when he could, and found guys he could attack. It was a masterclass, and it's there's suddenly a lot of teams that are going like, hey, I told you we had him and DeBonta basically ranked evenly, and he could be the best guy in this class.
Kurt Helin, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. Follow him there, especially during the Summer League action out in Las Vegas. I appreciate you, my friend. Dinner soon.
I look forward to it, man.
All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Wednesday. Tomorrow on the show, the latest from Wimbledon. Semifinals are set. Get to that in a couple minutes here in Odds and Ends. Who knows what guests we may have. Sam Yarnell will be back on the show as always. Curious what he thinks about that MVP conversation we had with David Aardsma earlier in the show. David thinks it's Junior Caminero, who right now I think you can get it basically 5-1, plus 550 in that area. Yordan Alvarez is actually in the minus right now. He's like minus 160, something like that, to win MVP. Curious to see what our friend Sam Yarnell thinks about that. We'll talk to him on tomorrow's show. A couple of reminders before we go. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Go and do so now. It's available on all your favorite podcasting platforms. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show in crystal clear audio Monday through Friday. Subscribe today. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. That is the place to find all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. The Monday through Friday TV version of the show. We take the commercials out of it. 45 minutes commercial free early each afternoon. It is available for you. A lot of times you can catch it on YouTube before you even catch it on TV. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel today. Sports Wrap Shorts, Sports Wrap Originals. Sports Wrap Shorts are great. Extended conversations from the show. And going back to those Sports Wrap Shorts, kind of bouncing around here. Sports Wrap Shorts are fantastic. 1 to 3 minute long vertical videos meant for people on the go. Big news breaks, we jump in with Sports Wrap Shorts. They're also available on our TikTok. SportsWrap Jason Page is the name there. Also available on our Instagram by that same name. If you have not done so yet, check out our new website, sportswrap.tv. We're adding new stuff to it all the time. The Daily Show is available there. Sports Wrap Shorts are available there. Find your affiliate if you're trying to figure out where the show is on in your particular city or state or even in Canada. All you got to do is go to sportswrap.tv, type in your city and state. You'll find where the show is available. The merch store is coming soon. Make sure to check that out. You can also subscribe to the Daily Wrap, our Substack newsletter, over at sportswrap.tv. And without any further delay on this Wednesday edition of the show, it's time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, the semifinals are set at Wimbledon. The four women that will compete for the title this year: Coco Gauff, Karolina Muchova, Marta Kostyuk, and Linda Noskova. We all know who Coco Gauff is, and this is one of the surfaces that she has really struggled on over the years. She has herself in a position now where she is just potentially 4 sets away from walking away with another Grand Slam. By the way, she's one of the youngest. I think the crazy stat was like first since 2007 to do it at such a young age. She's now made the semifinals in all the women's slams. And we forget that Coco Gauff is still only 22 years old. It is remarkable what she continues to do. Hats off to Coco Gauff. Best of luck to her in the Wimbledon semifinals. On the men's side, boy, is there going to be drama. I mean, the storylines out of the men's side are just out of this world. First, you got Sasha Zverev, who just won at the French Open at Roland Garros. And a lot of people, were wondering, could this unlock him? Is it the first of many, especially with Carlos Alcaraz out? Sinner obviously being a very difficult opponent if he were to meet up with him in the finals, or Novak Djokovic for that matter. We'll get to that matchup coming up in just a second. But Sasha Zverev finding himself in the Wimbledon's men's semifinal, really feeding off of what he accomplished at Roland Garros. The big story, though, is twofold. One, it's the underdog story. Arthur Furey. I mean, you want to talk about Cinderella story. The guy's ranked like 115th in the world. Now, he is considered and ranked as the second highest Brit in the world, but he's 115th in the world. He's a wild card entry into this tournament. And Arthur Furey earlier today beat Flavio Cobolli to make it into the Wimbledon semifinals. Beat him in straight sets. I mean, remarkable stuff from Arthur Furey. This diminutive guy. He's only 5'9". He's going to go up against Sasha Zverev in one of the semifinals. The other one, you can't ask for anything more. A match worthy of a final. Novak Djokovic, Jannik Sinner to meet up after Djokovic beat Felix Auger-Aliassime in yesterday's semifinal in 5 sets, 5 hours and like 15 minutes. One of the best performances I've ever seen from Novak Djokovic. Just amazing. The superlatives, we've run out of them. He just continues to do things at the age of 39 that guys at the age of 39 playing this sport should not be able to do. And he's going to go up against Jannik Sinner. Sinner, obviously the prohibitive favorite to win this Wimbledon title with no Carlos Alcaraz obviously in the field. But we've seen Djokovic beat Sinner before. Can he do it again coming off a 5-set match? Sinner only coming off an easy 3-set match in the quarterfinals. We'll have to wait and see how that shapes up on Friday with the men's semifinal. And again, you see the semifinalists there. It should be a lot of fun. And that's going to do it for us on this Wednesday edition of Sports Wrap. Thank you to our guests, David Aardsma, former big league reliever and closer, as Sports Wrap goes inside baseball, Kurt Helin of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, and thank you to all of you at home for watching. I'm Jason Page. That's Sports Wrap for this Wednesday. We'll see you back here on Thursday. Bye-bye.